I'm super excited to bring you a brief update on Geek Gamers and Tabletop Gaming magazine. I am doing a three-part series for the magazine, and it is on solo RPG. It's called The Soloist. The first part is out in this issue, and I just wanted to take a look at the issue itself. I'll show you the article a little bit and go through this great magazine and call it to your attention. It is a magazine that talks about board games, card games, miniatures, and RPGs, and you can see the publication information here. I was really enjoying working with Christopher, the editor, on this, and I'm so happy to be in a partnership with them. We're looking here at the table of contents, and if you're like me and you like physical products, it's just a great magazine to have because the color is wonderful and it's nice. I just like reading a magazine, a physical magazine. I'm pretty sure it does also come as a PDF. So the table of contents in this issue is a combination of reviews of RPGs, articles, minis, and board games, and starts out with some gaming news bits, and I even like looking at the ads, honestly, because there's things in here that I've never heard of. And this is a game design article on an approach to scoring and playing games that has to do with duplicates and getting scores based on duplicate information in games. Interestingly, I just had this book out from the library, The Knave of Secrets. I haven't read it yet, by the person that's written this article, which there's a piece here on 10 of the best games with meeples, a little piece on RPGs that take place in the 1980s. And you can see the beautiful layout and photography of the game. This is the piece that I wrote, The Soloist. It's about the mindset of the solo GM, information that if you are familiar with my channel or my Solo Game Master's Guide, you'll be familiar with, because the concepts are developed in those places. But it comes with recommendations for 3 great RPGs to try solo, as well as a discussion of the mindset of the solo GM. An article about a game I haven't heard of, Brett Walda, a tactical area control game. Obviously, the articles and games discussed here are not only solo. Here's a piece on Cryptic Explorers. I just did a video on that a couple of videos ago, you may know. And a big advertisement here for Tabletop Gaming Live. This is in September 2022 in Manchester, and I put a link to, if for those who could attend, I'll put a link to this down below. You can see games played, you can play games, and you can buy games there. And it is Tabletop Gaming's conference, I guess you'd call it. Or this is a game, this looked really cool. I like the art on this. I don't think this is solo. I think I looked it up. It's called Moon. It's a game about building a colony in space. And I just love the aesthetic of it here. And this is the cover story. I had not heard about this. Is a forthcoming RPG called The Land of Eam, and it is we'd like to describe it as tonally Lord of the Rings meets the Muppets. Lighthearted, maybe rules light. And the designers are quoted, "It's not just a system, we have a huge sandbox we're working on." The first one called the Mucklands, which is 6 regions, so there's a ton to explore, so hex crawl, and as you might expect, not a combat-oriented game, so that speaks to me. This is a traditional RPG, so not solo, but that doesn't mean anything, of course. If you know me, you know that that means nothing. So I'm excited to learn about this. The art, the sort of whimsical nature of the art really appeals. And there is a piece here on Exalted Funeral, the home of indie RPG publishing. I just did a video recently about a haul of material that I bought from Exalted Funeral's sale. I love the compilation of things that they put together. It's like a storefront. Some of it they publish themselves, some of it is third-party material. But it's an interesting piece about the creators of this. I guess you call it a publishing company now. I'm not sure if they call it a publishing company in here, but a storefront publishing company, as well as some pieces of art from the projects that they have. They are sort of fantastical, off the beaten path, is one way to put it. And then a list of four of their favorite Exalted Funeral games. I've done a video on old school essentials, and that's obviously really popular. I'm interested in Ultraviolet Grasslands. I'm not sure if I don't know if it's still available right now, but I've been meaning to look into that. This is a piece about what's in a game. Playing games doesn't make you smarter. This is a piece on really talking about chess and the research that's been done about whether or not playing games makes you smarter, or in what manner it does improve your ability, your thinking abilities, and whether or not the myth about playing chess makes you smarter is true. Question and answer about kind of like for those of you who know this reference, an Ann Landers like social problem writing in Q&A, but it has to do with gaming. So it's kind of amusing. This is a piece about older games from 2007, and talking about that was kind of a point in gaming history where things shifted toward the golden age of gaming that has ensued since then, and discussing some of the games that were out and popular then, Race for the Galaxy being of these the one that I own and play. An article about a game, I guess forthcoming, called 3000 Scoundrels. Looks to be multiplayer, maybe Weird West kind of thing. And then there is a lengthy section, maybe the meat of the magazine, of these are all game reviews. I hadn't heard of this Batman: The Dark Knight Returns board game. It's a solo design, and the review here makes it sound super interesting. So I'm looking into this. I had not, this escaped me. I mean, looking through this magazine makes me realize there's just so many games that I never ever hear about, because my exposure is pretty limited, I suppose. And helpfully, there are, each of the reviews tells you the game length, the number of players, the age range of the game, as well as its price. This is a price in pounds. It also has a little section like, try this if you liked some other game, and then it gives it its review. Now, it's this Tabletop Gaming Must Play. I actually haven't read this. I've read a bunch of this magazine. I skipped over this. It didn't look to be solo, but I see it says 1 to 8, so I'm going to give this a look. I like it looks like they're writing something here. That looks pretty cool. It's a range of styles of games and difficulty of games, and not every review is positive. So it's you get the summary here. Play it, no. Play it, maybe. And then play it, yes. So you do get a range of reviews here, and I find that pretty interesting. I just also enjoy reading reviews about games I'm never going to read or play, like Yak, for example. It's just not track, unpack, and stack. It's 2 to 4 players. I probably would not really come across this game, but I like seeing the variety of games that people have spent time developing and playing. The Everrain I've heard of this on BGG. It comes up a lot, but not had any personal interaction with it. Tusk, Surviving the Ice Age. I like reading about games. So if you like reading about games, this is great, because it's such a range. Like the Flux, I had Flux years ago. Frog Soup, this looks kind of like a kid's game, 5+. So they really try to get a range of coverage here, and it's enjoyable. Meeples and Monsters this is not solo either, but reading about it, it was really sounded really interesting. I would love to be able to get a group of people to play that game. Another sort of sci-fi minimalist design game, lunar base, cutthroat card engines on the moon. Obviously not solo. Gutenberg is a game that I've been interested in. It is, I think it's sort of like worker placement. It's about being like an early publisher, early printer. And as some of you know, I'm a book editor in the real world. And so I think this would be like a way of playing out my actual life as if I lived back in those times. So this has been on my sort of looking around list to see whether I should get it and do a treatment of it on the channel. It does say 1 to 4. I think it's probably mostly mostly a multiplayer game. Because as I said, it's a Eurogame worker placement, but for a game about printing, they call it a must-play. Gutenberg compresses the best aspects of several beloved Euro games into a polished game that delivers a beautifully presented and highly engrossing tale. Although, on the other hand, to be playing a game where people are stressed about supplies and orders for books, that's what I do on a daily basis. So maybe that's not the thing for me. This is also something I've been interested in. I actually thought I think this is like a journaling game. Well, I don't know. I thought this was a journaling game. It is about trying to fulfill orders for, it says players take the role of an animal whose goal is to heal the ailing of the woodland, usually by collecting roots, flowers, and leaves, and then creating a concoction as a treatment. Oh, it does say it's a journaling game. It's like an RPG-ish journaling game. It's unavailable, but I heard about it and then it was unavailable like in a second, it felt like, but I think I like the concept of this. So maybe I'll try to get my hands on that somehow if it becomes available again. And a train game. Then we have a bunch of advertisements and some minis, miniature, I guess, painting rules. I don't know. This is outside of I admire mini painting, but I know nothing about it. There is a section here on role-playing tools and kind of supplements. This has to do with gods. So you have, it's kind of cool actually, if you want this in your game, a D20 list of commandments. Thou shalt do whatever, thou shalt not do whatever. And D10 signs from the sky, D6 bargains with small gods, D12 superstitions. Could be useful to pop into a game if you played that sort of game. And a Dungeon Master's Guide to Role-Playing, staying on side quests. Getting sidetracked is the quest. I haven't read this yet, but it is an article about, I guess, side quests and how they can be used in games. And it's a cool picture there. They have a spotlight on a shop here, and this is a store called Entoyment Wargaming and Hobby Center in Poole, Dorset. And Q&A with the owner about the store. What's it like being a friendly local game store in your area? What's most popular? Some memories, etc. And finally, this was cool. Right, there's a tabletop time machine here, and it's an article about a game from 1909 and its predecessors, one of which is Stratego, that we probably all know. And it shows the original article for it, and it talks about the innovation of this game and what it originally was and then how it has evolved. So a little bit of gaming history there. And that's it. There's a lot to like in Tabletop Gaming magazine, not just my own article. And I was really excited to get my copy of it. I had seen a digital I had seen the digital version of the article, but for me, having the actual magazine is great. This is available stateside. It's available, obviously, in the UK, and I'll put whatever links I have down below. So I'm excited to be partnering with them, at least for these 3 pieces. It's been a pleasure to work with the editor, Christopher, and happy gaming.